Good morning. Happy Stitch Along Friday to everyone who's joining. It's so nice to be here again. Unfortunately, Lisa did not drop by today, so I'm on my own. But that doesn't mean that I'm not going to have a good time because so many of you come on board almost right away that I am not alone at all. I'm expecting to see Donna and expecting to see well, I'm not going to name you all because you're just about to come on board. So welcome already. I see two of you have joined in, so that means everything is functioning well. It's always amazing to me how I'm always very trepidatious before I start because I've had some pretty bad issues with Facebook, trying to coordinate with my streaming software and making sure that everyone can hear me because sometimes there hasn't been any voice apparently. So, there's always some technical thing that could happen. So I'm still waiting to hear if anyone can hear me. So, welcome those of you who are joining us. Me, I'm so used to saying us. Lisa and I have been such twins for so long. Hello, Loretta. That's wonderful. It's obviously everyone can hear me, and that's great. I know that if Loretta's here, everyone's good. Thank you so much for making sure that I know that technically all things are good. And I can hear you loud and clear. Okay, you may as well turn it down a little bit. I'm going to move something because I found that when I was working with Lisa last week, I had the camera set so that I could see the comments really easily. But now the camera is slightly in the way. I feel like I'm cross-eyed. Hang on, I'm going to change the camera slightly and then see how that works. There, almost good. There. Okay, now I can see much better, which is good. So it has been quite the week. Lisa did drop by, but she dropped by a few days ago just to say hi. And we ended up having a nice discussion about all the things that are going to happen in the future. And, there are days when I think, oh, will the future ever come? And then I think, well, today's a pretty good day. And I think, you probably all go through this when you're going through a transition, which I definitely am, and so is Lisa. And that transition seems to take such a long time between the time you ended something or you thought you did and the time something new begins. But really, it is just life. And to try and hurry things along really doesn't work. It makes it worse. And you're not open to any of the things that might come along to change your trajectory. So I've been busy, but not with Victoria Sampler. I have, though, done some more stitching on the Halloween design that I'm going to be teaching in October, on October 23rd and 24th at Stitcher's Hideaway. So all you have to do if you're wanting to go, Stitcher's Hideaway is going to be held again in the public house. And I believe that is I was going to say Sturbridge, I think. Oh, I hope so anyway. So go to stitchershideaway.com and you'll find hopefully you will be able to find a place where it will show you when that retreat will happen. So I'm hoping to enjoy seeing all sorts of old friends there. Looks like a whole bunch of people have come on board now. Let's see what's happening. Okay, so I've got to check. Oh, it looks like all of my comments are frozen and I can't seem to see all the early ones, so I apologize. Renee Cleveland, hello. Anyone who came before Renee, come and say hello again because apparently I'm having some problems seeing everyone. Patricia Rideout is there and Lisa is here. Oh good, you dropped in after all. Ellen Meldrum, hello everyone, she says. Marcia Buckingham from Dallas. Denise Hayes from New Zealand on a lazy Saturday morning. It's always so strange. This is a lazy Friday morning here. And by the time I've finished our stitch along, I often don't know what day it is because sometimes it does feel like Saturday. So kind of fun to say that it is in New Zealand. It is already Saturday. Loretta says you're correct. Stitcher's Hideaway is in Sturbridge. Thank you. I don't know why my brain doesn't function very well on Friday mornings sometimes. Any morning. I'm so preoccupied with what I've been doing that it is hard to break out and remember things. Good morning, Karen Lark and Pat Henke. They're very good, and I'm really glad to get that purple heart because it feels like I deserve one this week. Tammy Thompson, it is cloudy and cool. So it is here. We have centigrade, of course, or Celsius. We have somewhere around 5 or 6 degrees Celsius. It's kind of blah, cloudy, rainy, cooly. I think we're going to get another atmospheric river. I'm sure Lisa's thrilled about that because she's very much into following the weather every day. So, yay, Lisa, we get another atmospheric river. Yay! Hi, Mary Widritz. Hello, Nancy Pritting. Good to see you both. And Donna from rainy Berkeley. It seems like it's rainy everywhere. Special hug to Donna. And I'm really glad that you made it again this week. And say hello to your hubby if he if he is there hovering. Milady Victoria, good morning to you. Thank you. And it's great to see you here again too. Judy Holmes, we're getting ready for more snow, more stitching time. Yes, I've determined that I'm going to be stitching all day tomorrow. I have yet to know what I'm going to do next in the design. The design is at the top of the design is all done, and now I have to work on what I am going to put at the bottom of the design, and it's still up in the air. So I have to think about all that today. Go to bed tonight thinking, putting it on the shelf in my mind, which is what I do. And then in the morning, it'll come to me what I'm going to stitch in the lower part of the design. Yay! That's how it seems to work for me when I'm designing. I don't usually know what I'm going to be putting somewhere exactly. I just know that I can focus on it. And then I also focus on the world and I see what's happening in the world, whether it's other designs or my previous designs, or I look at the water, or I look at the earth and some flowers. There's a whole bunch of things I look at. I let it all go into my well, I call it, the creative well. And then in the evening, what I often do is think about what is going to be revealed to me in the morning for that part of the design. I can't tell you how often, almost 90%, I am struck by how the creative forces, wherever they come from, and everyone has an idea of where they come from, just help solve it for me. And it's really exciting because I get to do all the stitching tomorrow. Good morning. Good morning. Let's see now. Where are we? I see the purple heart, so I know where I am there. I have to scroll all the way down again. Good morning, Judy Holmes. I know I've already said hello to you because you've got snow coming. And Dorothy says, it's good to see you. I'm stitching the quilting bee sampler. Yes, I think you've been working on the gingerbread hollow and the quilting bee sampler at the same time, and kind of making sure that you put enough time in each one of them. But quilting bee takes a long time, and you thought gingerbread hollow wasn't going to take you that long. But there's a fair bit of stitching and a lot of color changes. So yeah, I can understand that. I'm so glad you're loving every stitching minute. More snow for you. Luckily, we are no longer in the snow belt, but we are in the rain belt, and we're getting an atmospheric river. Good afternoon, says Lynn. That's lovely. Hello from Norfolk. Yes, also snowy. Oh, that's kind of unusual. Aha. Good. And Rachel says, sorry, there's a whole bunch of things happening. Okay, Rachel says, no snow in Israel. That makes sense. I think there is sometimes snow there, but I just don't hear very much about it, Rachel. Good evening to you. And let's see, your new design is looking good so far. Can hardly wait to see what you come up with next. Thanks, Lisa. It's my creative juices that are going to come up with something. So, it looks like it comes from me, but really, I honestly feel that all the creative ideas and things are funneled through. No idea where they come from, no idea how they come out. And the main thing is that I have to listen and not go my own determined way. Because if I listen, it'll come to me and it'll be simple. It's just lovely when that happens. Tedra, good morning from Phoenix. I assume it's very nice and sunny there. Good afternoon from sunny Florida, says Carol. Carol, you often say sunny Florida. Is it ever a time when it's not sunny Florida? I bet you it is. Just not when you're here on a Friday morning. Carmen Garchorn. Every once in a while, I see a new face, and this is Carmen. Hello to you, Carmen, and welcome to our group. Really nice to have you here. Rachel, do you have a mother-daughter sampler? Anything for fathers, daughters? I think in the mother-daughter sampler, I'm not positive, but I think in the mother-daughter sampler, I also, or Lisa also put a chart in for father-daughter and the word father instead of mother, but I'm not quite sure. And if not, perhaps you can leave out the word mother and put in father some other place in the sampler. It's kind of a challenging thing to do, but it is possible. I think you'd have to make sure that the father, the F, like I don't have it right here, I don't think, but the F anyway would end up having ATHER, and it should work. It's just that all the rest of it will then go, and then of course nothing after the M in the alphabet. So then that would continue on with N. See if you can piece it out that way, because I think it will work. If it's not in the sampler already. I can't quite remember. I remember thinking about doing it, but I'm not sure if I actually got to it, Rachel. So good luck. I know you're very good with your charting. Mary says, I need to get going the March ash tree. Can't put down a pumpkin patch farm. Mary, it's okay. You can have the pumpkin patch farm. I know that the ash tree will come. It's not a very big pattern, but there's a fair bit of stitching in the ash tree, I think. So maybe you can do the trunk and a little bit of the, like some of the wood ducks, and that those are the little things, and then maybe it's easier to get started after your pumpkin patch farm. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Joanna Fuson, good morning from chilly Tennessee. Joanne. Let's see who else is here. Joanna. Thank you. I will check it out. Okay, well, I'll cross my fingers for you, but otherwise, I just know you can figure out how to put other after F in the alphabet. Carmen says, I don't get a notice for the live stream, so I often miss it. Oh, Carmen, I did not know that. You know what I should do, and this is something that probably professional live stream people do this. They set up the live stream as an automatic, like an invitation. And they set it up ahead of time, and then it gets posted to Facebook. And I haven't had the energy to figure out how to do that. So that's why you don't get a notice. And I'm not sure how everyone comes on board, but I think at 9:30 Pacific time, whatever time that is for where you are, people just go to the Victoria Sampler chat group, and I think it'll say there that I'm starting to do live or that I'm already live, and then just jump on board. So it's the timing. You probably have to put it on your calendar. I have to put everything on my calendar lately. Everything. Even the tiniest thing, like when I have to pay a bill or whatever, I have to put it on my calendar. I can't remember everything. Carol says, it's not sunny on late afternoons in the summer. Oh, okay. So it's kind of like when in the tropics, I was at Mount Kilimanjaro when I was younger. And I remember being on the slopes of Kilimanjaro, and every afternoon at almost the exact time, like 3:20 p.m., this torrential rain would start because it's right on the equator. And then it would rain for however long, usually about the same amount of time, like an hour and a half. And then that's it. And everybody had a siesta during that time. So I know what you mean. If it's usual, then that's probably a more tropical kind of rain. Lisa says, the videos seem to stop on my end. I'll try refreshing. Okay. Hopefully that will work, Lisa. And otherwise, jump back on board any which way you can. Okay, good. You're back. Norma says, good morning, ladies. And she is here also. Welcome. Let me see where I am, Norma Farrow. It's so nice to see your posts once in a while. You're just great. I just can't tell you how much I appreciate all the little moderators' comments. It's just wonderful. Mary Widrowitz says, it pops up on my Facebook. I wonder if you have to be a member of the Victoria Sampler chat group. That I think is true. But I don't know how it pops up on your Facebook on your phone, Mary. Because if it just pops up on a phone and people are looking for it popping up on their desktop or on their Mac, or I wish I knew how things looked on your end. I just do not have any clue how people get on board. I just love it that you do. Carmen says, today I was watching, but then I had to refresh the page. You're right. I thought today I will make a calendar appointment. I know, I'm sorry. But that's probably the best way to figure out that I'm there, because I don't think I've missed one thing. And if I do, there will be an announcement the day before for sure. I will say, I'm sorry, I can't make it or whatever. And that's happened maybe 1 or 2 times in the last 4 years or 5 years. Gail Stetler, I have my phone alarm to go off for every Friday when you come on. Oh, there you go. Your phone is. What would we do without our phones? Patricia says 1:30 for you every Friday, like clockwork here in Nova Scotia. Oh, that's so sweet. And that's how you guys all do it, it seems like. I have two calendars on my dining room wall. One is the mom calendar with everyone has their own space. And the second one is the one with my bills on it. Yeah, well, you have two calendars, but which one is the Victoria Sampler chat group live stream on, Tammy? I need to know. Is it the mom one or the Bills one? Because we're not the Bills. Jennifer Gowan says, all the plants and trees have bloomed in Virginia. Now it is freezing. Oh, that does not sound good for your plants and trees. Mary says she's on her Amazon Fire. Oh, I didn't know you could access things like that on your Fire. See, that's a device I hadn't even considered. Well, Mary, it works for you. That's awesome. Jennifer says, you pop up automatically on my Facebook. I just set my phone to remind me. Oh, Jennifer, thank you. Marcia says it pops up on my Facebook page on my laptop. Oh, this is so good. I'm beginning to see that it pops up mostly as long as you're in Facebook, I betcha. Because if you're not in Facebook, it probably, in other words, if you haven't got the app open, whether it's on your laptop or your phone or your Kindle or your, on your Fire. Let's see. Marcia says the same thing, pops up on her laptop. Tedra says, I do that too. A phone alarm set for every Friday. Well, the other thing is I keep saying 9:30, but it's not 9:30 for everyone. So, and once you figure out when I do come on board with your local time, then yeah, it would be easier to set a phone alarm. Tammy says the chat group used to pop up notice on my phone. That's been ages. I go to the VS. Oh, where are we here? I go to the sorry, it popped around again. I go to the VS Facebook shortcut to go to the group. Yes, I think you have to be either in the group or at least have Facebook open, because if the app isn't open, I don't think it can give you a notice. Am I right or am I wrong? Those of you who get notices, let me know if you're already in Facebook. Tammy says the mom calendar has my appointments. Oh, good. Okay. I don't want to be in your Bill's calendar. I don't know why. Silly me. And thank you so much for all your replies and all of your, cooperative help for people who can't seem to get a notification. Thank you to all of you. So what I've been doing this week, because yes, so Lisa dropped by, we had a nice talk, and that was lovely, and I miss her when she's not here. Honestly, I think she misses me too, but I mean, this is the way it is now, right? We have to get used to it. I'm so glad that she drops by once in a while so that I feel better. And I tell her all the time, so it's not a secret. And the other thing I did this week was I really paid attention to Marketplace. I've been selling some of my things on Marketplace, and honestly, I can write a whole book on Marketplace selling. I can't tell you the different kinds of people. Some are so sweet and trustworthy, and they'll come and they'll get it off the porch and leave the money under the mat, or they'll e-transfer to me. It's all just easy. And then there are some people that the minute they start, replying to my ad, I don't know if any of you have had this kind of reaction. Also in used, I call it used Victoria, but it's used whatever. And also Kijiji. There's various different ones, but the Marketplace ones seem to be the famous ones right now. Anyway, so then you get a person who will answer you and then ask you some unanswerable questions, like how long or how old is the piece? I don't know. I mean, I'll tell you it's approximately 5 years old, but that seems to be not enough. Then what's the serial number? Like they get right into the details of it, and then they drop out of sight. You think they're interested, and maybe they are, but they don't tell you when they stop being interested. So you're sort of sitting there waiting for them. Anyway, I've had unbelievable luck also with some people. There was a woman here yesterday who's already been here for some stainless steel bowls. And she came by and she said, "Don't you remember me?" And I said, "Oh, I'm sorry. I think I recognize your face, but it's really difficult to tell." She said, "I was here for the bowls." And that was about 6 weeks ago. So it's no wonder I didn't remember her. But I said, "Oh, yes, Karen." And I'm glad that she identified herself. Then she's a gardener. So she took all my old gardening stuff. Thank goodness, right? It's wonderful. It's gone. And then she took a look around my garden and said, "Is there anything else?" I said, "Well, there's a hose, which is really good. It's long, 60 feet long." And she says, "What about that bird feeder?" And I said, "Oh, yeah, you can have that." And she says, "Well, how much?" And I said, "No, no, you just take it. You're just so nice to deal with." And she says, "Oh, you're going to get good karma." 2 minutes later, she offered to help me. She has a truck. She can take stuff to the dump for me. She said, "I can do some extra gardening for you if you like before you go. I can help in the house. I can clean for you." I was shocked. She says, "I'm not terribly expensive." And she wasn't. I couldn't believe it. So there you go. There's some good ones, and then there's some not so good ones. And so far, I have not yet been robbed. Cross my fingers. Okay, that's my story for the week. Let me see what other people have been saying while I do this. Okay, these are the notices. Denise says, "I have to set an alarm to wake me up and then access your Facebook page." Okay, I get that. And he says, "I miss you too. It was really nice having a visit." Patty, you're here. Hello. Rachel says, "I have the sampler. It's not too hard. I think the rhyme might be to mother and daughter, but it's for sure possible. The issue is daughter and then L for love and then mother." But yeah, there'll be enough room. And I know you're good at this, Rachel. So luckily, I don't think that you're going to have. Oh, that's a great idea. Daughter, father, timeless. Perfect. See, you can do things like this where other people would be going, "I'm not sure I can do this." But I think you're good. My light just went off over there. I don't think it's made too much of a difference, but I'm just going to leave it if that's okay with you. The light, for some reason, just switched right off. I don't know if it's not plugged in or whatever. No worries. It just feels weird because suddenly it's dark over there. Okay, so that was my week. As you can tell, very little but stitching with Victoria Sampler. However, there was a lady called Judy Noble who bid on one of the bell pulls and that I had in an auction, and I haven't heard from her yet. So it'd be interesting to know if she's planning on it, because when I put up another auction, I'm going to have to keep track of who it was that bid on the same bell pull. I think it was the large one that Judy Noble bet on or bid on, and then that next person will get it if I don't hear from her by the end of the weekend. I put out an SOS to her, but anyway, I will make sure that that works. Rachel says, "No, you look perfect." Okay. Perfect sounds really perfect. I'm going to keep that for my whole day. Thank you. Let's see. Tammy says, "I'm currently rating finished project thread packs for more Mori white thread for the Christmas gazebo piece." Yes, we always put way more white. We used to anyway. Put way more white in most of our projects, I think, than we need, because there was always a lot of white in them. And Jennifer Gowan says, "You have to be careful about having strangers come to your house. Please be careful." Yeah, Victoria is not quite the same as Vancouver, but I am very careful. And when people ask me for my address and they haven't actually shown an interest in anything that they want to buy, I often say, "When you're ready to come out here, I will, and you're on your way, I will text you the address," because they give you an approximate area, right? Usually I haven't heard back from anybody that's like that. So thank you, Lisa. No, the light having gone off. Isn't that amazing? Because I also have outside light coming in through the Venetian blinds, so I guess that's made up for it. Maybe I don't need lights at all. Maybe I should just turn off all the lights and see what happens. I will do that later on and see if it makes a difference. Because these cameras are just amazing at picking up light. So today I have 10 designs because I have to accelerate my stitching designing journey. And I think we are now going on to number 44, and this is what I should have done before. I should tell you what date we are in, because this is actually one that I designed in 2004. So we're actually up. We've come from 1997, I think, And before that, I did the little lamppost design souvenir things, and that was from 1995 on, or 4 on. So this is 2004. So I've been designing now for almost 10 years. And so I came up with this design because I have a really big family, and one part of my family is very small, and the other part of my family is very big. And the Vanderbilt part of the family, we now have, if we had a reunion today, we would have 140 people at the reunion. There were 11 kids. My mom was the oldest girl of 11 kids, and they were Catholic. And so, maybe many of them still are. And so, everybody just had babies. Like some of them had large families, and my mom only had 2 kids, which I think I'm grateful for because I don't know what I would have done. I'm such an introvert. So that's the family sampler, heirloom family sampler, I should say. I'm going to throw these on the ground. No, I can put them over there. Okay, good. And this is the model. So when I was doing this, this was one of the, I think, first kind of samplers that I made. Oops. I see that there's a piece of thread here. Come on. There we go. This is a sampler that I made, and I loved all the birds in the tree. It's what made me feel good. And of course, don't forget, family tree wise, it would have been difficult to me. And I've seen this done before. I just didn't like the effect where the family tree was really large, and then you put little squares on, and you put people's names in the squares and sort of dotted all over the tree. And I don't know, I just didn't like that idea anymore because I'd seen it before. So instead I thought, okay, I'm going to populate it with a bunch of birds, different kinds. And of course, we've got my little bunnies, which they pop up all sorts of places. And so does my beehive. It pops up all sorts of places after this. And it's called My Family is a Sheltering Tree. This is very similar to my very first design, which was called Friendship Tree. It's got the same idea, only way bigger. And of course, there's a wonderful drawn thread, different kinds of drawn thread. And this one here is a, what do you call it? A multiple cross. What's that called? Oh, can't remember what it's called. Doesn't matter. There's a whole bunch of different specialty stitches and a variety of little trees. Some Bargello, of course. And this pulled thread, drawn thread thing is, I just love. Strong branches to comfort me. There's no place that I'd rather be, and I guess you can imagine, than with my loving family. And then I've got Herbst and Vanderbilt. My birth name, of course, was Herbst. That was my dad's name. And gorgeous hardanger at the bottom again. And these little guys, these little hearts, just the way with this and the drape and then the little heart coming down, that was one of my favorite bands that I thought up. And it came through just like any other bands that I don't have much to do with. It just came through after a good night's sleep, after I put the problem on the shelf in my mind. Doesn't it sound silly? As a designer, you have to somehow get picture the security and the how can I put this? That you have to have some kind of faith that you're going to get the ideas and the formatting and all that. You're going to get that if you wait patiently with open heart. And if you don't do that, and that faith has to be there, because then it will not show up if you have no faith. So to me, I built up the faith as long as I could. And then that would happen, and I would come up with something in the morning, and oh, right, well, that would work really well. It doesn't mean I didn't work hard at it, but the working that really worked was when I put it on the shelf in my mind, and I would let my creative juices sort of percolate overnight while I was sleeping. And I don't think that I'm alone in doing that. So that was a big model. And along with that one, I created this box top, which fit in. Look at that. Look at how it fits in. And that was like a big, like I had no idea it was going to fit in. This was a Sudbury box, and the tree fits perfectly. And then I put the words family treasures there, and one of those little hearts, these Rhodes hearts with a little dangly, little tiny queen stitch hearts as well. I mean, doesn't that fit beautifully? And I could see this as a frame piece right there. You don't have to say family treasures. You can put whatever you like, both your names on here and not make it into a box, just frame it. So this was, it wasn't an afterthought, but I saw the box, I saw the shape, and it worked. So I do want you to know that some of these samplers, you can take pieces out, right? And do something fun with them with the small pieces as well. Norma says, what a beautiful sampler. I love all the specialty stitches. Thank you. Yes, it was thick with specialty stitches. Thank you. The family sampler is on my living room wall. Oh, isn't that lovely, Donna? I know you have so many of my things, and I'm so grateful to know that it's hanging on your wall. Lisa says, I love stitching the Heirloom family sampler. Loved all the birds over one fabric thread. Those little tiny, the stitches take a while because there's a lot of color change in each one of the birds, but the effect is really pretty. Beautiful, she says. Rachel says, oh, blast, Heirloom family sampler. I promise no new patterns this year. The family sampler to me has all sorts of meaning. And in 2004, that's where I was at as a designer. And I'm so grateful because that actually started a slightly different, and I continued on with that kind of look for many, many years. It was probably the first one that I genuinely went into a completely different direction. And then I would also go back to the like the Heirloom wedding and the Heirloom anniversary, where there wasn't a lot of color, but this had things in it, people in it. Not no people in it yet, but it did have little animals in it, and it had the tree and the birds. It was a lot more cross stitch than I had been doing. So it's a new way of that I at that time developed as an artist, as a designer. Mary says she wants it too. Thank you. Norma says, what a beautiful sampler. Yes, got that. And Rachel says, I just lost my dad last month, and I would do the sampler, oh, with my parents' names. It's beyond perfect. I think when you say something like that, it just really helps. Makes me feel good. And I'm sorry about your dad, because I know what that feels like, and that's probably where my emotion is coming from, because I have lost both my parents, and that's the legacy, is the Heirloom family sampler. Oh, I gotta stop crying. Dorothy says, Taya, I'm doing all of that blanket stitching on the quilting bee. Yikes! I'm finding it difficult to count all of those stitches, so I know when I've reached the corner for turning. Do you have any suggestions? I'll figure it out, but I was hoping you had a suggestion. Yes. Do the inside blocks first. If you can manage to count down to the first block, and you are sure, even the middle block, and you can start all those blocks, then it will be obvious to you when you have to stop doing your blanket stitches. I don't know if that would help you because you've already started on the blanket stitches, but you can just end off, and then start up again. If you're very gentle with your ending, you don't want to make it pucker, at the end in the join, and then start over again and make it obvious that that's where you've started again. But if I were you doing your thing, I'd remember doing this as well. I knew where it was going at the top, and then I left space for that, and then I started on the blocks first. You said it, Taya. That's how I feel. It's just what I need. Thank you. Dorothy, that helps. Although the directions just say do them first. Yes, I know, but remember, I do my samplers sort of quote my way, and when Lisa gets them, she writes the directions according, like she hasn't actually done the piece, right? But according to the directions, according to what comes next in the sampler. So from her point of view, laying it out, she felt that this was the next thing that came down so that people didn't have to count over that edge too much. So keep that in mind when you're looking at a design. You don't have to do it in the order that Lisa wrote the directions. That doesn't mean that isn't always a really good idea to make sure that that's what you want to do. But it doesn't, that doesn't mean also that you follow the directions according to their numerical order exactly, because you have to decide yourself what's easiest for you. And I agree with you. When you have a whole long row of satin stitching, you have to be able to count it out. And the other option, since you already started, is for you to do a basting over 4, under 4, over 4, under 4, just along the side. a little bit farther away from the actual blanket stitching. But if you do that over, under, over, under, over, under, and then every 20 basting, I usually do it every 20 fabric threads, I make a little side piece so I know exactly where I am. And that might help you this time because you have already started. Okay? Oh, Tammy just said I run a basting stitch. I didn't read that before I said it. Over down the center of samplers is when she does it. I do mine on the side. When I do the heart hanger, I may start at the center top for the band, exactly. I'm getting close to starting that on Christmas Gazebo. Excellent, excellent advice. And you know, we all have our whole way of approaching some of these things that we're stitching, not just my samplers, but other people's pieces. So keep that in mind as you're judging where to go next. When you are in this case, do not follow everything exactly the way it says, but do keep your own decision making alive. Tammy, that's how I do it, a basting stitch. That's been I'm really glad that you asked because you already had several people here who had some of those same ideas. The basting stitches, actually, I don't think I ever started one without having basting all the way around the outside. And I usually keep it on the edge of the sampler, not 2 fabric threads away, because if I do that, if I put my basting stitches 2 fabric threads away, I tell you, I usually don't remember it's 2 fabric threads away. So I often then go right into the basting line, which is not what I want. So I put the basting lines exactly on the edges of my samplers, going up and down for sure. And then very often also across, depending on how wide it is, because then I know where the middle is here, where the middle is there, and I can basically make a little side stitch or a side stitch every 20 or every 10 or exactly where the middle is. I mean, there's a whole bunch of different ways you can mark it. And to me, that has been so helpful because I know exactly where I am at all times. Rachel says I only stitch via samplers. You know, I think that is one of the nicest things I've heard, Rachel. And I think the other reason, part reason, is because Lisa's directions and charting are so accurate. I mean, you know, you may not always follow exactly what she says in order, but you can count on the fact that the threads are correct, the amount of strands are correct, you know, the diagrams are correct. It is unbelievable how careful she is. And I think that she does those things without really, she's not able to do it any other way. I mean, if something is $12.23, it's not $12.22, which in my book, I go, oh, cares what a cent is? Well, she cares. And so I think that our directions have helped people be feel trusting in our patterns as well. And thank you very much for saying that you only do our samplers, because I also know that part of it's because I put a lot of heart into it and some artistic endeavor. Good evening, Nan from Coast Island, Greece. It's very nice to meet you and to see you. I think I may have met you before one time when you came here, came to our, but I'm not sure whether you were in or I met you somewhere else. Thanks, Thea. I wouldn't know how to do it any other way. I know you don't. It's so cute. Anyway, I have to go through 10, and I'm already a little after 10 here. So I'm going to go through the rest of them slightly. Okay, yes. I thought I had met you before. Sorry, Nan. That's right, I have, because it was Greece. Yes. Renaissance lace is next. It's funny how the color has kind of faded a little bit from the leaflet, but that is next. And I'm going to put that over there. Renaissance lace, I have 2 of them. This was the second model, and I think it was, instead of having the oval top, it just has a very simple frame mat. The mat is about 1/2 inch wide, which looks awesome when it's paired with something, the frame that is so thick with embellishment. And it just gives it that little bit extra red. So as you can see, Renaissance lace is also incredibly full of specialty stitches. It has a frame, which is white, so it's not too obvious. And then the top rows, that topper, I call it, that beautiful little piece right here with the backstitched and all the little leaves, I think that's one of the most exquisite tops that I have created, and I'm I'm actually so in love with it. I keep it in my living room at all times. This whole piece really makes me feel good. There's some bullion knot roses in the center of the entire wreath, which is of course a heart wreath, and then some more. And all I've written is for you. You can give this away if you put the words for you in there. You can also put for someone. And we did not put anything behind the heart hanger, which would have actually been nice if there had been some dark red underneath that, or even the dark green. The whole piece has balance even without putting colored fabric or a mat board underneath that's in a different color. But I just love this piece, and it's called Renaissance Lace. The cool thing about Renaissance Lace is that it has also got a box with it, and this one was done more often sometimes than the sampler itself. And the reason is because there is so much heart hanger, and also this beautiful what do you call it? Drawn thread, a variety of different drawn threads on this side and on the top side. And then of course you've got the heart hanger in the middle and the beautiful heart as well. And it is so possible for anyone to do this, especially if you really love white on white, which as you can see I did. So those two go together as models. Okay, and then this is in 2004 still. This is the Seaside Garden sampler, and as you can tell, there's a little pillow that goes with it. And this, of course, is the sampler, and the same sampler. One is in a one is put into a bell pull hardware, and the other one is framed. And this one, let's see, I think I'm organized here. I have the bell pull in front of me here, and this was the Fiskard Lighthouse, and I think I've just shown this to you guys not too long ago. It's very seaside oriented with shells and little seagulls, and of course this could be anywhere. I mean, from my point of view, this little scene looks so evocative of the beaches that we have here, except we don't have quite the sand that color. That was me wishing that it was a tropical sea. But we do have a lot of ocean near where I live. I've got the ocean view right there. So for me, this was very personal. And along with it, I'm going to show you the little pillow, because very often we don't even show you the pillow when we're showing these models. This is adorable too. It's called She Sells. She sells seashells down by the seashore. I can say this only once without stumbling, so don't ask me to say it again. But all the corners have these lovely little seashells. Sorry, I'm just going very quickly here. And because I'm looking at it from a mirror opposite, my hand sort of whips around quickly. It's a cute little thing. It's got a little seagull in the middle and some specialty stitches. Lovely, quick, and it's in the same pattern book, which I think you might like. So that is the Seaside Garden, and I think that was, I'm not sure what number that was. It's way over there now, so I can't tell you. I think it's 46. And let's see. Let me see. Rachel says it's not the technical side of the description, it's the style. It's the only style that is exactly what I envision. Oh, it is a personal thing, what you were saying, and you're absolutely right. I actually don't look at other designers very much. I did at the beginning because I was thinking, what are they doing and why are they doing that? And they may be doing things that are more popular or more, we'll call it more lucrative at times, because I've seen, some of the things that people like Just Nan, who was doing some of the same things when I first got started. But then gradually I just stopped looking at other people, because it was really important to me to develop what I guess my heritage and the combination of things that made me me. And so I've never listened to what other people say I should be designing in order to make the business better. And it has paid off big time personally, because I've never felt like I've compromised. And when I did compromise, it didn't work out. Because, you have the tendency, oh, I should be doing that. Nope. And then it didn't work. And I'm back on track with what comes out of my experiences and my personal life. And I do have a great deal to thank for my mom, who had an eye for elegant, more European style beauty. She had it in her own home too, and I think I still have some of that as well, although it's different, of course, because I'm in a different generation. But thank you very much, Rachel. I'm appreciative. Loretta says, beautiful. Renaissance lace is one of my favorites, says Lisa. Thank you, Lisa. Dorothy says, so happy to say I have Renaissance lace and the yak pack. I know, isn't that something? Like, I didn't know my yak packs were going to be so popular. People get so mad when they're not there. Ah, and Rachel's jealous that you have that. Lisa says, I love stitching the little garden samplers. Lots of different stitches and colors. You're right. And they are also evocative of a certain type of environment. So depending on whether you live near the ocean, Seaside Sampler is something that would appeal to someone who does. Gail says, I love all your garden samplers, but the seaside one I love the best. See, she lives and wants to feel like she lives near the seashells, and the little pillow saying has a special place in her heart. Oh, you guys. Honestly, I was feeling a little bit overwhelmed this week with all of the moving and decluttering and downsizing I'm doing. So thank you very much for that emphasis on the beauty of the samplers. So this is the next one. This is also part of stitching for me. And this was done again, this was published in 2004. So I do a lot in 1 year, or I did a lot in 1 year. And this one was one that I did with my friend Yvonne. Oddly enough, I asked her if she would come, what do you call that? When two people do something together, they're when they're producing a film together. You'll tell me in a minute, because there's a word there that I can't quite reach. Anyway, so I believe she did the top heart, and I did the bottom heart, and then I did all the rest in between. So from her point of view, she contributed her heart to me. It was so meaningful, I can't tell you. So here is the piece, and I can show you much more easily. I can show you up close, except that it's covered with glass. There, look at her heart. Isn't that unbelievably beautiful? Like, she did this with more bullion knot roses, some little pearls, and some little French knots or colonial knots, it doesn't matter. And then I put the rest in, because I put this in to, make it stabilized, so it wasn't just a point. And we talked about each other. Then she actually did this design. That's right. She did the vine here, and I believe she may have also done the lettering for Good Friends. So she did that. I did this. Then she must have done this part, because the lettering is the same. I can't quite remember. And then again, I did this one, or she did. I can't remember who did what, but it's very similar to this one, just slightly different. So it's probably me that did that one. And then I continued on with my usual lace, and we did the rest of the poem. And then I did the Heart Hanger Heart, which is very similar, only done with silk ribbon this time. So I can see this silk ribbon flower crown could be put on this one, and this bullion knot crown could be put on this heart. I mean, there's so many things you can do with this, right? An incredibly beautiful saying, good friends listen with their hearts. Definitely a keeper for me. And I have to keep everything, because it all means so much. It's very difficult for me to not keep all my models. So I've set aside a 5x5 storage locker where all of these models are going to go. And when I asked Lisa the other day, she said, yes, I think you can get some bubble wrap from Staples. So that'll be a good way to protect them in our heated space. That's what I'm going to do. And there is another version, which I believe Yvonne stitched, and we decided we would do this side-by-side heart things. This version of Good Friends is kind of sweet, because it does actually show the personalities of the two people. And Yvonne is very careful. She's probably sweeter than me. And she is very good at the finicky stuff, the really, really tiny stuff. And that takes a great deal of attention to detail. Anyway, that's for the both of us. It came in the same leaflet, so you could do either one. I think the other one is, yes, the other one is on the back here. And I seem to have missed out on this pillow, Lisa. Oh no, and also the name tag. I didn't grab those. Oh, darn it. So I'm gonna have to grab them next time. Okay, you're gonna get to see them next time. Louise, thank you. Nan says, when to collaborate. Why didn't that word come to my brain? Thank you, thank you. That is exactly the word I was thinking of. Norma Farrow says, ACPACs are great, because I was talking about ACPACs, and somebody says that they have the Renaissance Lace ACPAC, but I've seen someone stitching a VS sampler, and all with DMC floss, and it looked gorgeous. Exactly. I mean, it would be wonderful to have the same threads, and I particularly emphasize that you try to get the Gloriana threads I'm using. The reason is because the Gloriana threads, in whatever form they are now, give you the repetition of the color, and then you can match your colors of DMC with those beautiful Gloriana threads. So if you do anything at all, buy the Gloriana threads and then take it from there. And thank you, Norma. You're absolutely right. Patty said collaborate. Milady said collaborate. Nan said collaborate. You can always think of it, all these things. Must be my Dutch heritage coming out, going, okay, you can't remember that English word. Thank you. Thank you both. Thank you all. Okay, so the next one is Raven Hill Herb Sampler. This was the beginning of the little farm samplers. And I know it's 10:21. I only have 10 more minutes, so I'll just do as many as I can before I call it a day. So this herb farm sampler was done in, oh, and I'm still in 2004. So it looks like this one started the small farm samplers. And the reason I say it started it, because there is such a farm. And I had been there, and it was full of herbs, and the cottage wasn't quite as pretty as this one, but it's set amongst all these tall fir trees and cedar trees, and it had an apple tree out front. So, you know, I actually took the actual farm and all around the fountain in the middle, that's my invention, because they didn't have that. Their farm was really a farm. And then obviously that's where they're wrapping up all the herbs, and they actually sell all the herbs to the local very good restaurants. So Ravenhill Herb Farm is still going, I believe. I'm not sure if it's stopped yet or not, but at the time they were really going gangbusters and making a beautiful herbal garden which stretched way up the mountain. And for some reason they actually put their farm on the side of a hill that was quite steep, and I think that's why it had so much good drainage for the herbs. Anyway, fascinating to start doing small farm samplers, because where I live is just a little bit up from Victoria. There is what's called a peninsula that divides our area from the rest of the main part of Vancouver Island. So we have a little peninsula that goes up, and I'm at the north part of that peninsula where the ferries are. So all along the peninsula we have farms. In between we have some small settlements like Sydney and Brentwood and Saanich. So, but mostly there's farms. So I'm surrounded by them, and there's a bunch down the road here that grow daffodils. Wouldn't that be a nice sampler? Anyway. Let's see, I'm late today. Please repeat the angel blessing card for me, Marty. I will. Haven't even done it yet, as Dorothy said. And Lisa says, I loved stitching the farm sampler. I've stitched all of them except for Old Field Orchard. Yep, it's time then. Yes, I agree with you, Lisa. Those models are at the back. Oh, darn it all. Thank you so much for all of your input. And now that you're here, Marty, I can actually do one of the 3 remaining angel cards. Let's see, I can't look. Okay, it's this one. I don't know if this is applicable to any of you, but it definitely has something meaningful to me. I hope that you like this one. It's called Allow Yourself to Heal. I don't think it means only healing from physical injury. So those of you who have emotional or physical injury, allow yourself to heal. it means that forgiveness and kindness and gratitude are the ways if it's emotional. And that's just from my heart, because I don't know what's happening in all of your lives. I do know, though, that healing is a very valuable thing so that you can continue to take care of others and yourselves. Perfect card for today, exactly. Janet says, hello, everyone. I'm very late, joining from, and I think it's the Netherlands. Is that uh, is that last name a Dutch name? I think so. Topa? Christmas cardinal stocking is a very fast one because there is a lot to it, but it is very simple to show. I'll show you right now, which is, this is the cardinal stock. I didn't do any more than one stocking. I have to tell you, the amount of stitching in here was almost enough to kill me. I remember stitching on everything, all up and down this thing. And to me, the result was not worthwhile. That doesn't mean that it isn't lovely, but from my point of view, I think I would have just put in the lovely little cardinals. They actually look really nice. But the amount, like I put stirrups in of Hardanger and all these cardinals up and down and all the hearts. I mean, there was a lot. And I'm not one to do this for a long time. I don't like big, huge projects much, as you may all have gathered. I like projects where things are changing all the time, not having the same thing. So I know I'm dissing my own design here. Those of you who have done this, thank you. I can't thank you enough for all the work you put in. But my favorite part was going to be this one, which is the sampler and the little ornaments that come with it. I find those so much more satisfying to finish. That's just a personal thing. I'll show you what they look like. This one, which is the also taken completely from the stocking. All of the little designs are part of the stocking. Even the cardinals themselves, I just made them a petty point, and they fit beautifully on this little bell pull. The thickness of the Hardanger is what I love and value in these two. And then I didn't get the scissor fob out, but I did manage to snag the, I think we call this a sugar plum, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. And this was also all done in 2004. Goes all the way around. See, I didn't mind doing this. It wasn't huge. There is still quite a bit of stitching in this. There's 3 of those medallions, and there's a lot of stitching around the outside. But this is doable. It's not it's not as big as that huge stocking. So next time you do a stocking, just do a portion of it and leave the rest blank. Very bad of me to say all those things. So I'm going to put these to one side on the floor, which is clean. Let's see. Marty says, that so applies to me today. That's why you asked for it. I have spent all morning at the ER with my neighbor. Oh, I really feel for you. And you too, if you have spent the morning at the ER, that means that you are under some stress, all just from being there. I find staying at the ER is not reassuring at all. So make sure that you heal your heart before you can heal your body. Heal your heart. And I'm so glad that you had a neighbor with you. Marty says that's... oh no, that was Marty, sorry. And then for me, of course, it means a lot. I'm not healing fast enough, says Rachel. And again, the healing is not something that you do. You aren't the healer. You need to let the healing in by doing all the right things, doing physio, like, doesn't mean that you don't show up. Doesn't mean you don't do as much as you can to heal your body and your mind. But you also have to let in the faith that you will heal. And I think that that's more the spiritual side, or and certainly not necessarily religious, but the spiritual and the emotional side of us. Yes, Dorothy. And by the way, 2004 was prolific, but that's the way every year was. And most people had no idea how many things I was actually designing and stitching, all of them. So the amount of stitching I've done was huge. And thank you for noticing that. You're from Newfoundland. Sorry, when you said NL, for some reason, I thought you were Dutch, because I'm Dutch. Anita Verheyen says, I love doing the cardinal belt pull from my mom. Me too. I love doing it too. And the cardinal, yeah, I don't know about your mom, but the cardinal was my mom's favorite Christmas orient. Nan, I do have a petty point tutorial video. I have it, I think it's in my classroom, in the courses for stitching. I'll look up to see where it is. I can't quite remember where I located it. It was at one point, it was on my YouTube channel, but I don't think it's there anymore. Things kind of shift around in there, but I do have one, and it's excellent, if I say so myself, because it pinpoints exactly how to do things. Remember to think about it in terms of needle point. If you look at a needlepoint stitch, very often it's done over one intersection. Okay, even though it's canvas and it doesn't move around a lot like our linen does, nevertheless, the technique is to do tent stitches, right? Or continental or basket weave stitches. So keep that in mind. Have a look at needlepoint, and that is the basis of the first stitch. And then you, of course, make the cross over top. But I'll look out for that as well. Oh, by the way, the top of the stocking, this is another good thing. You could just do a stocking and then just do a topper for it, which, by the way, turned out to be one of the more, the easiest things that I've done. And the finishing was also, I believe, fairly simple. The finishing was to do it like this so that it could be added to the top of any stocking. And it would look gorgeous with your name on it. I put my full name on it, Theodora, because it was a long name, and then people can see how long the name could be. Anyway, that actually is another good thing to do with a stocking. Just put the name on it and stitch that. Let's see, I have another 5 to go, and I cannot keep you guys any longer. It's 10:31 already. And by the way, the next one is still in 2004. So yeah, did a lot that year. So Rachel, thank you for that. Yeah, it's a good idea. My lady says, Thea, I've just done the stocking topper of my own design. Yay! A stocking topper works, and it's really all you need to make something very personal and fun. Marty says, my friend used to do petit point cross stitch on 40 count gauze. Yeah, when we had young eyes, those things are possible. And by the way, I had my my eyes done with new lenses in. And the operation asked the doctor, please make me so that I could see up close, this close. And I can. I was always very nearsighted. Now I'm just as nearsighted, but I can see more clearly now nearsighted. So I'm thrilled with my operation. I think that's it. I wish I could continue because this is going so well, but never mind. I'm going to go much more quickly next time, but it is good to talk about all these things and to have interaction with you all. Thank you so much for being there, and for all your kindnesses and all of your stitching, because without you stitching my designs, we wouldn't be here. Thank you, and thank you to Lisa for all of her incredible input, help, etc. All of the people who help make this chat group their own by contributing, showing their progress photos, commenting on each other's beautiful work. Honestly, it is a community that is really well worth spending time being there and contributing. And you don't have to do much. Just be kind to one another. And hopefully that will be our word of the day, kindness and gratitude this weekend. Thank you all very much, and thank you. Have a good weekend too. And somebody says, please let me know when your video is next time. Yes, okay, I'll do that. I will do that, Nan. Thank you so much, and hopefully you'll be there as well. Dorothy says, and without you, we wouldn't be stitching. We love you, and I love you all too. So I'm going to say goodbye to all of you, and I'll see you again next week. Enjoy stitching on the ash tree. Bye-bye. Next time.